So let us talk about how to sketch quadratic function. So the question is saying express each of the following quadratic functions in the form of f of x is equal to a, open brackets, x plus b, close the brackets, to the power 2 plus q, where a, p, and q are constant to be found. Then in each case, write down the turning point and then sketch the graph, showing clearly the coordinate of the point where the graph crosses for the coordinate axis. So we want to find our answers in a form of a x plus b squared plus q. Now that I don't have enough space, I'll shift this, then I'll just do it like that. Okay, so let's begin our discussion with the first one. So I'm going to use completing square method, where I have to factor a. So we have to factor a. Okay, that's the first thing that we have to do. We have first to factor a. So in this case, a is 2, so 2 has to be factored out. I'll remain with x squared, then 2 divided by 8 is 4x minus 3 over 2, like that. Okay, now when we do this, what comes next? The next thing that I'm going to do is I now need to find the half of the part having x. So half of 4, or 4 divided by 2, it is 2. So this is going to give me 2 open brackets x squared plus, because there is plus, this one carries plus, positive, so it's going to be plus 2. I put it in the brackets, I square it. Then if I've done plus here, minus the same thing, then minus 3 over 2. That's what we do, completing square method. When we do this now, one thing you have to remember is that but if you want, you can rewrite this. Let me do this before I even go further. The 4x, bring it here, then now plus 2 raised to the power this, then minus 2 raised to the power 2, then minus 3 over 2, like that. So now at this step, the next step, I'm going to ignore the 4x, so I'll have this. When I ignore the 4x, this is raised to the power 2, raised to the power 2, so it will be x plus, this is the positive sign, then 2, then squared, because both are squared, minus 2 squared is 4, minus 3 over 2, like this. When I reach at this point, now I can simplify this. But before I do that, I can even open the brackets, which is going to be 2 x plus 2 squared, then minus 2 times 4 is 8, minus 2 times 3 is 6, 2 divided by 6, so 2 and 2 will go, so I'll have this, like this. So then I'm going to have 2 open brackets x plus 2 minus 11. So this is squared. Now I've expressed this in a form of that. When you do that, you have now to write what we call the turning point, because the question was asking us to find the turning point as well. Okay, the turning point, we need to have x and y. So you get this, what is in the brackets, x plus 2 equal to 0. So for x is equal to negative 2. That is the x value, comma, the y value, you get the number, this number, the way it is, so negative 11. So that's my turning point, negative 2 comma 11. Now they want us to find again, we want to sketch, but we need to find the intercept, the y and x intercept. Okay, now what I'm going to do, I'll get rid of this so that I go ahead and find the x-intercept. So how can I find the x-intercept? Normally, what we are supposed to do here, we're supposed to do this. This completing square method that I've used, I've reached at this point. So when you reach at this point, equate this one equal to 0, then shift this to go to the other side. Then you have 2x plus 2 squared is equal to 11. Okay. Then what else I was supposed to do? Okay. Now from here, I'm going to divide both sides by 2. Even here, 2. Then I'll have x plus 2 squared is equal to 11 divided by 2. So then now, what we normally do, we want to find the value of x. To find the value of x, you can now square both sides. Okay. So when I square both sides, that would mean to say, if I get the square root here, and I get the square root here, I need to put plus or minus here. So now what I have is, this 2 and that will cancel out. I'll have this is equal to plus or minus the square root of 11 divided by 2. Okay. That's what we need to know. Then when I do that, now I need to find the value of x. So how are we going to do it? Okay. How are we going to do it? So when I do, what I'm going to do now is it's very simple and straightforward. So I'm going to have what? I'm going to have here, I will shift 2 to go to the other side, so it will be x is equal to 2 plus or minus the root of 2 or the root of 11 divided by 2, like that. So then at this point I know that x will be equal to 2 plus or minus the square root. Now here, if I want, I can say it is plus now, then the square root of 11 divided by 2, or x is now 2 minus the root of 11 divided by 2. So these are the values of x. The y-intercept is the number which doesn't have x. In this case, y is equal to negative 3. That is the y-intercept. Okay. Now, when we do that, what else are we supposed to know? Or what else are we supposed to do? But I shifted this guy to go to the other side, right? Let's not forget. So this is supposed to be negative. Because I shifted 2 to go to the other side, so this is supposed to be negative. Yeah, like that. Yeah, yes, it's supposed to be like that. So, when I reach at this point, guys, one thing I want us to understand is that we are going to have this. Let me just put this x being equal to negative 2 plus root of 11 divided by 2, and also x being equal to negative 2 minus root of 11 divided by 2. So let's now try to sketch the graph. So one thing is what is going to guide you is, if a is greater than is less than 0, the graph is going to have the maximum. If a is greater than 0, the graph is going to have minimum, max. So here a is positive 1, so a is greater than 0. The graph is going to curve like this before I even solve. So let's try to do that. Okay, let's try to do that. So the y-intercept is at negative 3, so the graph is going to touch this point. Then the turning point, I've got this is x and that's y. So the x part, the y part is negative 11, the x part is what? The x part is negative 2. So where can I put that? I'll put negative 2 Now let us look the x values which we have. Negative 2 plus root of 11, because 2 divided by this is 5 point something. So the square root of 5 point something, we know that is 2 point something. Definitely this is going to be pros. It's going to give us positive, so it will be here. Negative 2 plus root of 11 divided by 2. It will be there. At the same time, this is negative and this is negative. Definitely it's going to be to the negative side. So it's going to be less than negative 2. So it will be here. Like that. And I have what? 11 divided by 2. Now, the x is going to touch here in y. In x it has to touch there and touching there. The turning point is at negative 2 comma that point. So it will come like that. It touches there, then it goes there. Once again, it touches this point, it reaches there, it goes there, it goes there. So that's the graph of f of x is equal to 2x squared plus 8x minus 3. Done. So go ahead and try part B using the same concept. Or maybe let me try part B and then I'll leave this other one so that you guys can at least you guys can practice. So let's do part B. Okay, so let's see. Part B, the first thing, remember, we have to factor out what? We have to factor out x, or a. A in this case is 5. So I'll factor out 5. So it will be x squared minus 5 into 15, it is 3x. Then here it will be 7 divided by 5, like that. When I reach at this point now, I need to get half of negative 3. So you divide it by 2. That is half. So it will be 5, open bracket, x minus 3, then it will be minus, or let me say it will be plus, but here it will be minus 3 over 2, but you square it, then minus, again negative 3 over 2, you square it, plus 7 over 5, like that. What I have done here is I'm following the sign here. It is positive, so what I've done is negative 3 times 1 over 2 times half, which is negative 3 over 2. So this one, the first thing I have to put plus, but in the brackets I need to include the negative. Then minus, again in the brackets I need to include negative, but I have to square this one. Oh, it's already squared. Even this one is squared. The next step, ignore the part having x. So it will be 5x squared plus. Now this is not, it's not going to be plus because I'm now dealing with this negative here. So it will be now minus 3 over 2. When I do this, then I do square. So this 2 and this 2 is the one which is here. So if you expand this, it's going to give you this up to there. Okay. Then from there now, negative 3 squared, it is 9. 2 squared is 4 plus 7 divided by 5, like that. The best thing is, let's first simplify this. The common denominator is 20. 4 into 25, 5 times 9, that is 45. So it's negative 45. Then plus 5 there, 4 times 7 is 28. So then negative 45 plus 28, that should be negative 17 over 20. So what I have now is 5 x minus 3 over 2 squared minus 17 over 20, like that. When I reach at this point now, I can go ahead and open the big bracket. Okay, I can open the big bracket, but what do I mean opening the big bracket? What I mean there is when I open the big bracket, I'm going to end up having 5 open brackets x minus 3 over 2 then squared minus 5 times 17, which just say 5 into 5 1, 5 into 20 is 4, so it will be 17 over 4. Okay, yeah, it will be 17 over 4. So then I can clearly see that what I'm going to have here as my turning point is going to be this. So I've now expressed this in the form of what they want: a open brackets x plus p close the bracket squared. Okay, then now what I'm going to do now is to write the turning point. So the turning point, it will be, you get what is in the brackets there, equal to 0, x will be equal to 3 over 2, so it will be positive 3 over 2 comma negative 17 over 4, like that. That's the turning point. Now a is greater than 0, so the graph is going to have what? The minimum. It's going to curve like that. Let's not forget. So then my y-intercept, where is my y-intercept? My y-intercept is positive 7. For this one, I can now go ahead and find the x-intercept. Y-intercept is a number which doesn't have x, or where there is x, you plug in 0. So for example, y is equal to 5, 0 squared minus 15 times 0 plus 17. That gives me y is equal to, this is going to be 0, so this is 7, not 17. So that is going to be 7. That's why y is positive 7. Then now we are finding the value of x, put y equal to 0. So it's the same as, we are just focusing on this. We have, instead of me using quadratic equation, like, it might take time. Okay, so what I'm going to do is very simple. I'm going to say 5x minus 3 over 2 squared minus 17 over 4. I'll equate this equal to 0. Then I'll shift this to go to the other side. So it will be 5x minus 3 over 2 squared being equal to 17 over 4. Then when I reach at this point, I need to divide it by 5 everywhere, even here 5. So meaning what I have here is the same as 17 over 4 divided by 5, which is 17 over 4 times 1 over 5, which is 17 over 20. So now I have got x minus 3 over 2 raised to the power 2 is equal to 17 over 20, like that. So then I can clearly see that when I have this, I'm going to square root both sides. Once I square root this side, I have to put plus or minus, meaning these 2 and the square root have cancelled out. X minus 3 over 2 being equal to plus or minus the square root of 17 over 20. Okay, when I reach at this point, shift this now to go to the other side. So x will be equal to 3 over 2 plus or minus root what? 17 over 20, like that. But if you want, you can use the long division method. Okay, so what are we going to have now? We are going to have x being equal to 3 over 2 plus root of 17 over 20, or x being equal to 3 over 2 minus root of 17 over 20. One thing I want you to understand is that when you reach at this point, don't even bother yourself simplifying. It's fine just from here. 17 over this is 0 point something. So then this is going to give you 1 point something. The answer will be positive. The answer will be positive. So the answer for this one should be, at least it's going to be 1.6 something or 1.5 something for this one. This one is going to be positive for the fact that this is going to be 0, but it's going to be less than this. So as I'm going to put my graph here, one thing should come in my mind is that I need to understand one thing. So my x, they are both positive. So since they are both positive, I can make it like this. Okay, they are both positive. So this number is approximately, I'll put it here, 3/2 plus root of 17/20. Then there's also this number, I'll put it there, 3/2 minus root of 17 over 20. Then again, in between here, we can clearly see that this number, we have said that it's going to be now, because 3/2 minus this is going to be less than. So now the turning point is 3/2, meaning 3/2 is here. Then y-intercept, where is y-intercept? Y-intercept is at 7, positive 7. I'll put 7 here. But I can just extend this one a bit to go on top, like that. So, or what I can do is I can put 7. I put 7 here. Okay, that's the 7. Then the turning point now down part, I can clearly see that is what is negative 17/4. So I'll put it here, negative 17/4. So at this point it has to turn there, and it has to touch these points, this point and that point. But again it has to pass 7. So 7, in fact this was okay. If I was to put 7 here, it would be better. Then it has to pass again there. So the graph comes like this. It passes there, it comes here, it reaches there, then it touches that point. That's the graph of f of x is equal to 5x squared plus, or let me say minus 15 plus 7. Simple. So now you can clearly see that the method that I've used, now for finding the turning point, I'm going to use now the quadratic equation for the next question. So I'm going to do 3 like I've said, then I'm going to leave 3 for you. So since this one was for positive, let's now go ahead and do the one for negative. So there are 2 for negative, or there are 3 actually. So I'm going to do these 2 as well. Or let me say, since that has got 2, I'll do this and this. You guys, you go ahead and do C and F. Then you send me the answers. So let's now go ahead and do part D. If we write part D is 4x squared minus 16x plus 11. Okay. So let's factor out a, which is negative 4 in that case. So have 4 squared. Then negative and negative is positive, so it will be 16 into 4 into 16 is 4. 4x then plus 11 is going to be negative now. It will be minus 11/4, like that. So what I've done is, if I multiply this by everything here, I'll go back to that. That's the principle. So negative 4, it will keep on coming, and remember a is now less than 0. The graph will have maximum. Okay, so x squared plus 4x, now half of plus 4 is 2. Square it minus, again the same, 2. Square it, then minus 11/4, like that. So have this. Okay, just hope we have not made any mistake there. Let's see what we're going to have. So at this point I can ignore now the one for x, and I'll remain with x plus 2, everything squared, minus 2 squared is 4, minus 11/4, like that. I can now multiply everything by negative 4, so it will be negative 4, open brackets, x plus 2 squared plus 8 times 8 is 16, plus 11 is going to be 44. 44 divided by 4 is 11, like that. So we have 4 x plus that squared plus 16 plus 11, 27. So then my turning point is x plus 2 equal to 0. So for x will be equal to negative 2. So it's negative 2 comma positive 27. That's the turning point. Now after finding the turning point, what's the next thing? We find now the x-intercept. If you want, you can use the simple formula that I taught you guys to say this: x plus 2 squared plus 27. Then you equate this one equal to 0. Then you shift this to go to the other side. Okay. So the other one, you can use the long division method to find the value of x. So for example, if I choose to use the long division method, that is going to be, so when they say express that in a form of a plus x plus p squared plus q, is this form. We don't include 0, so it's negative 4 x plus 2 squared plus that. Okay. Now another thing that I want you guys to understand is since for those two different questions I've used different method. So for this one I also want to use a different method. I'm going to use this one now. Negative b plus or minus the root of b squared minus 4ac. But if at all it is factorizable, since I know that the product in this case is going to be negative 44, so I don't think I have got factors. So x will be, what is my b? It's negative 16. So 16, negative and negative will cancel. I'll have just 16. So I'm going to have 16 plus or minus, again negative 16 squared 4. My a is negative 4. What is my c? My c is 11. I divide that by 2. My a is negative 4. Okay. So x will be equal to 16 plus or minus. So if I do negative 16 squared, it's going to be positive. So 16 squared is 256. So that is going to be plus 4 times 4 is 16. 16 times 11. Okay. 16 times 11, that should be 117. 176. I divide that by negative 8. So then x will be equal to positive 16 plus or minus those two guys there inside is going to be 432. So do you think there's a square root for 432? No, but it's going to give me, so I'll leave it like that because I don't know. I'll say divided by negative 8. So x will be equal to 16 plus or minus, so it's the same as I just say x will be equal to 16 plus root of 432. I divide that by negative 8. Okay, or x will be equal to, so what we can do, another thing that we can do is, let's try to divide 432 by 16, or maybe 64. Why I'm doing this? Because I want to simplify it. I want to make it simple. So if I say 432, I divide it by maybe, let's say 64. Now 64 is too much, but 432, if I divide it by, let's say 16, it will give me 27, which is going to be better. So now this can be written as this: 16 plus or minus I'm going to have the square root of 16 times 27 over negative 8. So it will be 16 plus or minus, square root of 16 is 4, so it will be 4 root 27. Then divide that by negative 8, of which x will be equal to 16 plus 4 root 27 divided by negative 8, or 16 minus 4 root 27 divided by negative 8. Then x will be equal to 16. So I will divide here by, I'll just divide it by what? 4. So I'm going to say 2 there. This is the same as x is equal to 16 divided by negative 8, then plus 4 root 27 divided by negative 8. So I can get rid of this. So there is going to be negative what? 2. Then there is going to be negative root of 27 divided by 2. Of which this is exactly as the ones we're supposed to find using that simple one. X will be equal to, so for this other one, it will be still 16 divided by negative 8 minus 4 root 27 divided by negative 8. So x will be equal to, for this one it will be still negative 2, then this will be plus. It will be plus root of 27 over 4. Over 2, not 4. So what we normally have now, the values of x, we have 2. X is equal to negative 2 minus root of 27 divided by 2, and x is equal to negative 2 plus root of 27 divided by 2. That's the case. Then now we can sketch. By this time we already know how our graph is going to come out. The y-intercept is a number that doesn't have x, so y is equal to positive 11. So 11 is here. That is my y-intercept. I'll put it here. What else? The turning point is at 27. Then in x, negative 2. Okay? So we also have this number. This number is a bit big, so I'll put it here. This number is positive. I can put it anywhere here. So now I know that it's going to 10, it's going to pass this point, and 10 at this point, and pass that point. So let's go. It goes there, it reaches there, it passes there, it goes there. Let me do again. The graph has to be a bit neat, but it's supposed to touch that point. So that, like that. So that's my graph of f of x is equal to, which one are we solving? 11 minus 16 x minus 4x squared. As simple as that. Okay? What other thing are we supposed to do now? I'm going to solve now the last one, which is, I'm going to choose, which one should I solve? Okay, I'm going to solve E. Then you're going to do F. Okay. So now for this one, I will do the usual method that I've been telling you to make things simple. Let's go ahead and factor out negative 2. So I have x squared minus 2 into 12. Okay, it's negative 2 into positive 12 is 6. So that will be plus now 5 over 2. Like that. Negative 2 x minus 6x plus the half of 6 is negative 3I squared minus negative 3I squared plus 5 over 2, like that. Next step, ignore this guy having negative, so it will be negative 2x minus, now minus is this minus 3 squared, then minus is this one, negative 3 times negative 3 is positive 9 plus 5 over this. When I reach at this point, just do times, open the brackets. Okay, x minus 3 squared, negative 2 times negative that is positive 18, and this one is going now to give me negative. It will be 10. 10 divided by that is 5, negative 5, like that. So 18 minus 5. Now I don't need to put this bracket. These ones have, it's now I've already multiplied. So I'll now have 2x minus 3 squared. So this will be plus what? Just do 8 minus that, so it's 13. Yeah, it should be 13. So then, that is part what? The one I'm solving, part E. Okay. Am I solving part E or I'm solving part F? I'm solving part F. Yeah, so now I can clearly see from here that I've expressed this in the form of what they want me to express, and the turning point is equate this equal to 0. So for x minus 3 is equal to 0, then shift negative 3 to the other side, x is equal to 3. So positive 3 comma, get this the way it is, positive 13. That's a turning point. To find the x values, remember what I said, you can use the simple method. Instead of us using a very complicated one for quadratic, just do this, equate this equal to 0, shift this to go to the other side, negative 2x minus 3 squared will be equal to negative 13. Divide both sides by negative 2, then x, also not x, now we have x minus 2 squared being equal to 13 over 2. At this point I can now get the square root. I can square root both sides. Once I do that, put plus or minus here. So x minus 2 is equal to plus or minus root of 13 over 2. Shift this to go to the other side. Once you shift this, let it come here. You have seen, right? Then I have two answers. X is equal to 2 plus 13 over 2, or x should be 2 minus 13 over 2, like that. Now when we do that, I found, now I need just to sketch y is the value that doesn't have x, in this case negative 5. So remember, a is less than 0, the graph will curve like that. It's going to have a maximum. Okay, so let's see. Which one is positive? So this is positive. I'll put it here. 2 plus root of 13 over 2. The other one is negative, and I know that the turning point is 3, which can be here. So this other one is where? 13, that is going to be 6 point something. Yeah, so it's going to be negative. To be somewhere here. Like that. Then what else? Turning point is at what? Have I done the correct thing? Turning point we have the turning point at what point? At what point? Y is equal to -5. Okay, yes. So why can't I shift this one? Okay, let me do this a bit just. I need to shift this a bit to go on top. Then I extend this to go a bit down. Then I put -5 to be here. I'll put -5 here. So it has to turn there, touch this point. Okay, but why this one is now giving me negative? That's my question. So positive, that is we say the a is less than 0. We need, or is less than 0, so we need to have a graph which is going to be like this. So how is it going to be? At that point it goes there, so it can't turn like that. So meaning there's a mistake that we have made. Okay, what can be that mistake? 3 and 13, that one we have not made any mistake. And then what we have done is we have shifted 3 to 13 to go to the other side. That gave me negative. I divided it by negative. Okay, cool. So the mistake which was there, this was 3, not 2. This is 3 and not 2. If you remember very well, this x value, we had this. Like this. So it's supposed to be x minus 3 is equal to plus or minus the root of 13 over 2. So this should be 3. So it will be 3 plus. Okay, cool. Now this is going to be better. Looking at how this is, we have two answers. We have x being equal to 3 plus 13 over 2, and x is equal to 3 minus 13 over 2. So let's see something. If I divide 2 into 13 is yes, now it's making sense. If I divide 2 into 13, it is 6 point something. So the square root, we know that the square root of 9 is 3. So the square root of 6, probably it has to be less than 6. It has to be less than 3. Meaning that it's going to be 3 minus this is going to be positive. So this has to be to the positive side as well. So that's the mistake that I made. So you need to be very much careful. As you can see, I just made a simple mistake here. So these are supposed to be to the positive side, all of them. So now this is going to be like this. We have, what I can do is I can get rid of this. I make a new one. In fact, all of it, just the two of it. Let me get rid of it. So we're going to have this. So, but we should remember that this number is going to be big, so I can put this number here. 3 plus root of 13 over 2. Again, this number is going to be less, so it will be here. But again, the turning point, this 3 is going to be greater than this number, so that 3 can be written in between. Then here we have got 13, so at that point it has to turn. When it turns there, then -5, it will cut there and touch this. Now this is making more sense. So it has to come like this, touches there, comes there, it reaches there, it 10, go there. That's the graph. So that graph is the graph of f of x is equal to negative 2x squared plus 12x minus 5. That's the graph. Now go ahead and do this. I don't want you to show me the graph, but if you're going to show me the turning point and the x-intercept and also express it in a form of a x plus p squared plus q, I'll be able to know that you have done the right thing or not. So I want you to go ahead and do part C and also do part E. So that is it for sketching the quadratic function using the completing square method.